Number one, the Lord tells us, store up for yourselves treasures in heaven. That in heaven, there for those that have served God and served Christ, that God has some special things, planned for us and stored up for ourselves there. So the Bible tells us to do that. And how do we do that? By serving God and telling others about Him. Okay? He said, store up for yourselves spiritual treasures in heaven. I'm sure there's not like these bricks of gold or all these kind of things like that. But whatever it is, it has to be something very special that God has for those who have served Him. Now, flip over just a little bit to 1 Corinthians, and I just want to read you this, and I'll be closing here shortly. 1 Corinthians in chapter 3. In the eternal state, there are two judgments. There's the great white throne judgment that is seen in Revelation chapter 19, where all the wicked will stand there. You and I will not be present at the white throne judgment. At the white throne judgment of God in Revelation 19, all the people that don't know that their names are not written in the Lamb's Book of Life will stand at the great white throne judgment, and the books will be opened. The sea will give up their dead. What do you mean by that? All the people that have died at sea, they've been eaten by sharks, and their bodies have been dissolved in the sea waters of the ocean. You might say, how in the world is God going to do that? God will bring back every molecule of their bodies that's going to come back and form a body, and their soul and their spirit will enter into that. And they're going to stand before God. And the books shall be opened in the book of life, and if your name is not found written in the book of life, they are cast into a lake of fire. There's no such thing as soul sleep or total destruction of the soul like some people think. And then there's the other judgment here that you and I will appear before, and that's in 1 Corinthians chapter 3. It's the judgment seat of Christ. What is this all about? Let's read it. Okay, let's start to read at 1 Corinthians chapter 3. Let me start to read right at verse 5. So the Apostle Paul, he said, after all, he says, who's Apollos? Who's Paul? Only servants through whom you came to believe. As the Lord has assigned to each task. I planted, Apollos watered, but God gave the increase and He made it grow. So neither he who plants nor he who waters is anything, but only God who makes things grow. And the man who plants and the man who waters have one purpose. And look what it says. Each one will be rewarded according to his labor. Look at that. Each one who serves God will be rewarded for their labor. Now, we don't serve the Lord because we're thinking, because of the rewards we're going to get, although that's going to happen. We do it because we love the Lord and we want to serve Him. It's a labor of love. Each one will be rewarded according to his own labor, for we are God's fellow workers and you are God's field and God's building. Now he's going to get into the judgment seat of Christ right here in verse 10. By the grace that God has given to me, he said, I laid a foundation as an expert builder and someone else built on it. Each one should be careful on how he builds. Very simply, when you're serving God, when you're trying to build a work for God, build it on Jesus. Do it with the right attitude and the right motive to glorify God. You know that there's some people out there that are serving God to make a name for themselves or just for the money. There was more so in the 80s, the 90s, there were some of these televangelists out there. They were saying, listen, send $1,000 here. God is telling me to tell you, send $1,000, sow a seed in this ministry, and God will give you $100,000 back. What kind of gospel is that? Be careful on how you serve God. Serve God with the right motive. Be careful on how he builds. Do it with the right motive. For no one can lay a foundation other than the one that's already which is laid is Jesus Christ. For if any man builds on this foundation, on Jesus Christ, then the materials that he's using is gold, silver, costly stones. If you do it with the wrong motive, then it's going to be wood, hay, or stubble. And we and our works are going to be tried and tested by fire. Now look what it says. This work will be shown for what it is, because the day will bring it to light. Each one will be revealed with fire, and the fire will, look at this here, this is very interesting. The fire will test the quality, not the quantity of a man's work. Very interesting. Sometimes some people, they think, well, you know, if it's more quantity, then you're going to be rewarded more. God's looking for quality. And what kind of quality is that? It's people that have been built up in the Word of God. That's going to be the quality. Are people really being discipled for Jesus Christ? Is the character of Christ being developed in their life? So, it's using the Word of God, okay? That is where the quality is in the Word of God. Each man will be, his work is going to be tested by the quality of each man's work. If what he has built survives, he will receive his reward. If it's burned up, he will suffer loss, but he himself will be saved. So this isn't like either, you know, pass-fail thing where, let's say if you go in there and your works get burned up, that you're going to be cast into hell. No, the works will be burned up, but you will still be saved, but only as one escaping through flames. In other words, you're going to get into heaven by the skin of your teeth. And we don't want that. We just don't want to slip into heaven by the skin of our teeth. We want to go in there and have our works tested by fire, and they're silver, gold, every precious gem. And we want the Lord to be able to say to us, well done, my good and faithful servant, enter into the joy of your Lord. Amen. That's what we want. Yes. So serving God, even though it's perilous, it will be rewarded. Okay, here's our closing thought, friends. This is the point of application. When you leave today, this is the thought I want you to take with you. It's this. Always remember, we are saved to serve. Not just to say to yourself, oh, I'm so happy I'm a Christian, I'm on my way to heaven. Take that experience and share it with someone else. What you have in your heart and in your life, share that blessing with someone else. We are saved to serve. God isn't looking for people on the bleachers cheering the pastor on. Go, pastor, go. If you can't do it, nobody can. Go, pastor, go. He's just not looking for people to cheer from the bleachers. You know what God is looking for? He's looking for players that are out there on the field and their uniforms are dirty. For serving God. Get dirty. Get down there in the mud. Serving God. Amen. Let's close. As we close in prayer today, just wondering, in the sound of my voice, if there's anyone here today that maybe for the first time, or maybe that you feel the need in your heart, you know what, I need to rededicate my life to Jesus Christ. You know, I'm a Christian, but the fact is, you know, maybe I just kind of got off track a little bit. But today, with my heart, I want a fresh, brand new experience with God in my life today. Is there anyone here in the sound of my voice? That's you. And I'm just going to ask you if you would just lift up your hand nice and high. I want to pray with you. And give you a new beginning, a fresh start, okay? And a brand new experience in God. Is there anyone out there? Just slip up your hand right where you're sitting, and I'll be happy to pray for you. Anyone you'd like to have a fresh start, a new beginning with God? Anybody? Just raise your hand, and I'll pray with you. All right. Okay, well, let's all stand then, shall we, for God's blessing.